Introducing Rocketbook Australia, makers of the Everlast notebook, a paper and pen feel of a notebook that can be reused by simply wiping off your information with a wet towel. The Everlast notebook pages are made from a polyester composite instead of traditional wood, creating a surface that feels and looks like paper but has the ability to be scanned, digitally stored, and then completely erased. Their innovation in product launch and their rudimentary advertising technique is perhaps the most novel element of this product. The way it is marketed turns the traditional form of marketing upside down. According to Tim Ambler, innovation in marketing includes the introduction of new brands and products. Rocketbook as a brand and Everlast as a product has done both. Rocketbook's slogan, "Notebooks from the Future." That's because this notebook has a highly innovative design which is unlike any product currently on the market. Whether the user is a student or a professional, this notebook cuts down on storage space, environmental footprint, and helps bring analog technology into the digital age. The Everlast reaches consumers in the market for a new physical notebook or a new note-taking smart device. There has never been an option to buy both in one product, and certainly not at a price point under $100. The original technology of the Rocketbook Wave, where the user can erase their information by inserting the notebook into a microwave with a cup of water, is less than 3 years old. The 1-year-old Everlast created a page that can be erased by simply using a damp cloth. For a long time, there has been very little innovation in the traditional notebook industry. For some reason, people have a hard time giving up the feeling of pen and paper, even in this modern age. In an article for eWeek titled "Why Pen and Paper is Still the Pervasive PDA," Peter Coffey said, quote, "When mobile applications become an added burden instead of fitting into workers' routines, the result is more work, not less. Workers continue to use pen and paper methods for their flexibility as well as their reliability under field conditions, while redundantly and perhaps inaccurately re-entering data for online reports." End quote. The new product idea for Rocketbook is the Everlast notebook. From idea generation all the way through to commercialization, the Everlast notebook has been innovative in every step of this process outlined by Principles of Marketing ebook. Differentiation. The brilliance of this product is that it started with the right question, which is there a market in the gap? That is, which demographic is being marginalized by the current market offerings? In an article for the Washington Post, Michael Rosenwald said, "The notebook industry representatives say their target audience is people they call expressives, which are educated working people who like paper but aren't using it as much anymore." The technology of laptops and touchscreens is still not refined enough to service sketches and some people's basic creative processes. The industry competitors like Moleskine, Mead, 5-Star have had to contend with the introduction of tablets and screen touch technology as well as small boutique-style notebooks like Flypaper, which have relatively recently earned their place in the market. Still, the notebook, journal, diary industry, they aren't going anywhere. Some behaviors just won't quit. In a piece for the National Post, Philip Marchand quoted Amy Weinstein, who was an associate curator of the National September 11th Memorial and Museum, from a paper written by Nicholas A. Basebanes, saying, quote, "Given the complete crippling of the telephone and electrical systems in 9/11, what fascinates me, sociologically, is that paper becomes the only urgent and most efficient mode of communication. Thank God for paper, because we turn to it again and again." End quote. So, if paper isn't going anywhere, can innovation still exist in this 2,000-year-old invention? The Washington Post, in an article about the comeback of pen and paper, said, "Paper is about 2,000 years old, born in China. It instantly became vital and has stayed so, perhaps more than any other substance on Earth excluding water." End quote. Until now, the innovation in this industry has been moderate at best, until the invention of the Rocketbook Wave. Now, building on that new technology, the Everlast is the latest invention in this new niche. By introducing rudimentary ads and creating a quirky brand personality, the Rocketbook team have literally created a new product that links 2,000-year-old technology with the technology of the 2000s. So, how do factors influencing consumer behavior come into play? In the consumer decision-making process, social responsibility plays a huge part. With the uprise in the need for sustainability, a notebook that cuts down on the consuming of paper could just be the ticket. Also, the, quote, positive vibes of this attractive, sustainable product provides a highly effective way of looking after the stakeholders' interests. Everybody wants to be seen in a positive light, and everybody wants to be associated with brands and products that reinforce the responsible consumer behavior. As for technological advancements, and according to Maslow's hierarchy, the Everlast fulfills the self-esteem need in all humans. With a dynamic environment of technological advances, everyone is looking for the next big thing. Rocketbook literally toppled its own technology with the introduction of the Everlast, throwing a wet towel on microwave technology. With a generation where nearly everyone has a smart device, integrating an app that can pair with your notebook simply creates an easy assimilation of the product's use into the consumer's lifestyle. And with digital storage, everyone can appreciate the space-saving usefulness of one notebook compared to hundreds. With corporations like Pepsi, Accenture, HubSpot, and Genentech requesting custom-branded Rocketbooks, Rocketbook has entered the B2B market and garnered attention from cross-industry major players. Even industry sellers like Staples have taken Rocketbook on board, not to mention the amazing success it has had on Amazon.com, especially with the Everlast notebook. Problem recognition is the first step in the decision-making process for the consumer. Consumers understand that there is a marginalized demographic who prefer paper and pen but cannot justify the carbon footprint that is associated. However, the desire to connect in a tangible way has not deterred the consumer. Rocketbook answers this problem with their product range. The second step is the information search. Rocketbook has maximized its advertising presence on YouTube to a generation who searches online for the majority of their purposes. Third, the evaluation of the alternative for the consumer. Should they go with traditional or technology? Sharmila Ganesan quoted Neha Garg, a brand consultant who started a Twitter initiative to write physical letters to strangers. She said this: "There is tenderness and vulnerability about the act of writing that typing simply cannot replicate." Fourth in the decision-making process is the purchase decision. Since the technology of the Everlast notebook is relatively new, the majority of its consumers fall into the category of early adopters and early majority. The early adopters are people who are willing to try new things almost without hesitation or information. The early majority are consumers who purchase more cautiously but still with minimal information and scarce post-purchase reviews. Finally, post-purchase behavior. Since Rocketbook does the majority of their advertising online, the use of online reviews are very important for the brand. Maximizing this step actually feeds into the beginning of the purchasing process for the late majority consumers and even the laggards. The reviews they've received, even from YouTube personalities, have helped launch their products into their current success. Crowdfunding is a way of actively involving a consumer market in the investment of a developing product. It essentially develops demand for a product even before the product exists. Rocketbook paired with Indiegogo and Kickstarter, both crowdfunding websites which gear toward new innovation, and they bring investors and creators together to promote these innovations. In this co-creative process, the investor, who can double as a consumer, receives an experiential benefit. The feeling of being a part of something can outweigh even the monetary benefit of a successful investment. Let's look at Rocketbook's crowdfunding journey. In 2015, at Launch Festival, Rocketbook began its crowdfunding campaign and raised over $1.8 million to be used toward research and development for the physical notebook as well as its digital interfaces. During this launch, Rocketbook garnered criticism, including Jason Calassini's comment, Who do you think you are, the Elon Musk of notebooks? In 2016, Rocketbook improved on the technology of their first notebook while presenting and pre-selling Everlast on Amazon.com. Later on, in 2017, the Rocketbook Everlast would go on to become the #1 office/school product in crowdfunding history. Rocketbook is perhaps most well known for their appearance on the hit TV show Shark Tank. Famously, the sharks, who are successful investors, evaluate new products and decide whether or not to invest in their development. Surprisingly, even after all the success of the Wave, Rocketbook was rejected by the sharks essentially because their product wasn't digital enough for the modern age. 6 months later, however, the Everlast was introduced. It may have been lack of vision that led the sharks to reject the Wave, or an underestimation of the green initiative trends. Either way, Rocketbook has been heralded as one of the most successful inventions that the sharks let slip away. Its approach to their marketing campaign, the Rocketbook team have literally revolutionized the industry they're in, as well as the way products are marketed. Their somewhat cheesy approach to communicating their product to consumers has gained them a cult following in the technology-hungry era. Their innovative product, met with their innovative marketing, complemented by their quirky brand personality, is quickly making Rocketbook, the Everlast, a household name.